You wake up, and within 60 seconds, it starts. The narration. The inner committee convenes to tell you what you did wrong yesterday, what you have to fear today, and why you are not quite enough. Most people make a costly mistake here. They either surrender to this voice, believing it is their true self, or they try to numb it out, hoping it will just fade into the background. Neither works. The truth nobody wants to say out loud is that freedom from your mind begins with observation, but it is completed only by command. Think about that voice. It talks, it judges, it plans, it narrates as if it were a person living inside your head. If an actual person followed you around all day, speaking to you the way your mind speaks to you, you would find them unbearable. You would kick them out. But you don't kick this voice out. You listen. You obey. And what has it cost you? Years of your life spent reacting to a phantom. You still don't feel whole. You still don't feel like you. Here is what nobody tells you: you are not that voice. You are the being who hears that voice. This is the first shift, the foundation of everything. There is a fundamental difference between the thoughts, emotions, and experiences you observe, and the awareness that observes them. When you realize this, a tiny crack of light appears in the dark room of your mind. You begin to objectify the inner voice. You treat it as a separate entity. You break the spell of identification. This is what Carl Jung might call the separation of the ego from the deeper self. This is where two great traditions meet. One tradition, rooted in deep contemplative practice, says your only job is to sit in the seat of consciousness and watch. Be the witness. Let the thoughts arise, let them fall, and do not touch them. You are the sky, the thoughts are clouds. Do not grab the clouds. The other tradition, the Stoic tradition, says yes, watch, but do not stop there. Epictetus called this being the spectator of your own mind. You watch yourself have impressions rather than being swept away by them. But for the Stoics, watching is just the first step. It is the prerequisite for governance. Both agree on the starting line: you are not your thoughts. But this is where the paths diverge, and choosing the wrong one keeps you trapped in the same loop for years. Let's look at the first path. The path of pure observation. The witnessing self. When you first try this, it feels like a revelation. You stop fighting the anxiety. You stop arguing with the inner critic. You just watch. Oh, there is the thought that I am going to fail. There is the feeling of jealousy. It is a relief. You are no longer drowning in the river, you are standing on the bank, watching the water rush by. This is a profound and necessary stage. If you cannot detach from the thought, you cannot do anything about it. You are fused with it. But here is the danger of stopping there. Passive observation, when taken to its extreme, becomes dissociation. You become a ghost in your own life. You sit on the bank of the river, watching your life float away. You watch the anxiety ruin your sleep, you watch the anger poison your relationships, and you say, I am just observing this. The house is on fire, and you are sitting in the lotus position, watching the flames. You are not your thoughts, but you are responsible for them. Observation without command is just elegant surrender. This is where the second path becomes essential. The Epictetan discipline of assent. Epictetus understood something crucial about the human mind: we do not react to events, we react to our judgments about events. Every single thing that happens to you enters your mind as an impression. A raw, unfiltered mental representation. Someone looks at you the wrong way. The impression arrives. And in a fraction of a second, your mind wants to convert that impression into a judgment. They disrespect me. I am threatened. I must react. The discipline of assent is the practice of catching that first impression before it becomes a judgment. You do not just watch the impression, you interrogate it. You pause, and you ask, is this impression accurate? Is this something in my control? Does this deserve my assent? If you give your assent to every terrifying or desire-provoking impression, you will be swept away by your passions. You will be a leaf in the wind of your own reactive mind. Marcus Aurelius used this practice every single day. When something disturbed him, he did not just observe the disturbance. He examined the underlying belief causing it. He would find that the belief was irrational or exaggerated. He corrected the judgment, and the emotion followed. This is not passive observation. This is active, surgical intervention in your own mind. This is command. But the second path has its own trap. Rigid control. When you take command to an extreme, you become a tyrant to yourself. You try to suppress every negative thought. You fight the mind. You clench your jaw and say, I will not feel this. I will not think this. But suppression is not mastery. Suppression is just repression in a philosophical suit. The thought does not go away, it goes underground. It builds pressure. And eventually, it explodes. You cannot govern a mind you are at war with. So, here is the truth that sets you free. You need both. You are not the voice, but you are not just a passive witness to it either. You are the operator. The mind is an instrument, and you must learn to play it. When do you use the witnessing self? Use it when the thought is irrational, repetitive, and beyond your control. The midnight spirals. The intrusive worries about the future. The replaying of a conversation from 5 years ago. For these, pure observation is the medicine. Do not fight them. Do not argue with them. Just watch them. They are clouds. They will pass. The more you watch without reacting, the more they lose their power. You starve them of the one thing they need, your engagement. When do you use the discipline of assent? Use it when the thought is a judgment in disguise, when it is about to trigger an action, and when it concerns something you can control. The thought says, my partner is pulling away, I must send a jealous text. Stop. Interrogate the impression. Is this accurate, or is it my insecurity? Is sending the text in my control? Yes. Does it deserve my assent? No. You catch the impression, you refuse to give it your assent, and you choose a different action. This is command. This is self-mastery. Think of it like this. Observation is the brake. Command is the steering wheel. Sometimes you need to brake, to slow down, to let the chaos pass. Sometimes you need to steer, to pick a direction and actively drive. If you only brake, you go nowhere. If you only steer without braking, you crash. The recurring refrain of your life must become this: I am not the thought, I am the authority over the thought. Let's bring this down to the ground. Tomorrow morning, the narration will start again. The committee will convene. But now, you have a choice. You can either sit back and watch the committee argue, realizing you are not the arguments. Or you can stand up, take the gavel, and dismiss the thoughts that do not serve you. Most people live their entire lives trapped in that committee meeting, believing every word that is spoken. They wonder why they are exhausted. They wonder why they still don't feel whole. It is because they have surrendered the one thing that makes them human, the power to judge, to assent, to choose. You are the silent witness. But you are also the sovereign. You are the sky, but you are also the weather maker. Do not just watch your life pass by. Do not just observe your mind. Govern it. Interrogate it. Refuse to give your assent to lies. Refuse to give your assent to fear. Refuse to give your assent to the voice that tells you you are not enough. Freedom from your mind begins with observation, but it is completed only by command. Learn to watch. Learn to steer. And when the noise gets too loud, remember, you are the one who hears it, and you are the one who decides. Choose command over chaos. Stay sovereign.